everybody. My name is Savannah Hash, as she said, and tonight I'll be talking to you about what works with crowdfunding. First, can I get a show of hands of who all has actually heard of crowdfunding? Okay, so I have a few. For those of you who didn't raise your hand, maybe you've heard of websites like Kickstarter or Crowdriser. Any hands for that? Yeah? Okay, so a few. Crowdfunding is when a person pitches an idea, and this idea could be for a new product, a new business. It could be to produce your own music album or maybe make your own movie, raise funds for a charity or maybe a special event. So a person pitches this idea on usually one of those websites and asks the public to donate money to help bring this idea to life. And I actually have just a quick little video to kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So here's a project, and this lady, she has her own little beehive business, and she's wanting it to grow. Idea of what you might see if you go to these websites and you look through these ideas, these projects that people have proposed. And as you see, it's not that professional. It's not always professional. A lot of times it is kind of immature. So why should we care? A lot of you didn't raise your hand. You never even heard of crowdfunding. Well, in 2012, crowdfunding sites raised over $2.7 billion and successfully funded over 1 million projects, meaning that over 1 million projects reached their goal or exceeded their goals. Now, the numbers for 2013 have not been released yet, but it was estimated that there was an 81% increase in these volumes. So the main purpose of my research was to compare fully funded projects that met their goals, to partially funded or failed projects that didn't raise the amount of money that they wanted to reach. I wanted to see if there was a difference maybe in the way they presented the project, maybe in the person themselves or where they presented the project that made it different, made it successful compared to the ones that didn't reach their goals. So a few of my hypotheses, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the rationale behind each. First, we have projects with videos are more likely to be fully funded. So the project I just showed you had a video to kind of explain her idea. Well, not all projects have videos. Some of the projects on these sites just have pictures, graphics. Some don't even have that, they just have text. So the reason behind this is when people see videos, they're more engaged in the project. So I figured they'd be more likely to donate to that project. Second, domestic projects are more likely to be funded as compared to foreign projects. With this, I mean that projects in the U.S. are more likely to be successful than projects in other countries. And I kind of got this idea from America believes in opportunity. We have that entrepreneurial spirit. And also, crowdfunding sites were started in America. And next, the higher the amount of backers, the more money raised. So this implies that it's a large amount of people giving small amounts of money to raise this big sum for a project, rather than just a few people giving a large amount of money. And next, last, because I'm a student, when I was first browsing through the websites, I found it was really interesting the large amount of student proposals for projects. So because we're a little more into social media and the internet, and those are kind of our tools, I figured maybe we're a little better at this than other proposers who might not be a student. So my methods, I use the top 3 crowdfunding sites according to Forbes, which are Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and Rocket Hub. I observed 25 successfully funded projects from each site and 25 failed projects from each site, so making a total of 150 projects. Each project has a deadline, their own funding period for when they're receiving funds. I only looked at projects that were closed when the deadline had passed. And as you can see from the table, some of the notes that I took when observing these projects. First, the title. There's some crazy titles out there. The website that it came from, and then the type of presentation. So, was there a video? Were there graphics? Was it just text? And then information on the presenter. Was it a student, a single mom, an entrepreneur? Did it get funded? And the percent funded. It's interesting to note that the percentages range from 0% funded to over 2,000% funded. And then the number of backers and location. So results. After running a regression analysis, we found that domestic projects meet their goals more often than projects in other countries. And we also found that the type of presentation the media use is not very significant, which I found very interesting because you would think the way a project is presented would have an impact on how much money it receives. We also found that the higher the amount of backers is a positive correlation to the amount of money raised. So it truly is, going back to the word crowdfunding, it truly is a crowd funding these projects. And last, turns out that it is significant if a student presents the project, they are likely to reach their goals. Some of the limitations, I would say, because I only observed projects from the top 3 sites, we couldn't really get a scope of the overall crowdfunding world. Next, unknown scope of proposers network. What I mean by this is you don't know how big of a network that person has, how many people they know, and how many times they can share that link, and what social media sites they use to share their link. And for future research, I think it would be interesting to try to find a way to track that sharing, how that person can share their project, where they share it. Also, for future research, I know we found that the physical presentation, the media used to present the project wasn't significant, but maybe the type of language, how the message was communicated to the investors might be significant. Like, for instance, I've read that there's research done on how women write and versus how men write. So women tend to be more emotional and they use more exclamation points. So maybe if a presenter used more professional language or more emotional language, they might be more successful when presenting an idea. And concluding, there are still some laws being reviewed about crowdfunding. It's still a new concept. It's a growing concept. So I do encourage you, if you've never checked out these sites, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, Rocket Hub, go home and do that tonight. Look at these ideas, and maybe you have an idea of your own that you want to pitch. Thank you for listening.